All right, good evening. We are back with our judging and results for the second Iron Chef challenge. The winner of this challenge is going to get sent a box of first edition Heroes Clash. So if you don't know what this is a challenge where I put out a deck list with nothing in it besides 6 cards in the sideboard. And participants have to pick 4 of those cards and build a deck with them using at least the listed number of copies and try to find a deck that both uses those cards, like makes pretty good use of those cards, is actually reasonably good, and is, at least somewhat creative, not super boring or anything like that. And so we kind of judge it based on those factors, and I do some judging, and then I always bring in a guest judge to do judging as well. And this time we have Jose Norono. Hi, Jose.
Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Good to be here, Tim.
Yeah, so we got a few more entries this time than we did last time. I believe we had 22, 23 total.
Yeah.
As a note, if you're thinking of participating in one of these, do not delete your UVS Ultra list. we had 2 people delete their lists before we could record this. One of them, 15 minutes ago. And so then we can't, if we can't talk about your list on, then we can't, you can't win because we can't talk about the list on the video. Like, that's the point, right? So don't delete your list until you see the video go live, right? Please do not do that.
So sad.
Yeah. But, we went through, we sort of pre-graded these so that we're not hemming and hawing on stream. You didn't want to see the last 30 minutes of us debating, trying to hash out what our top 5 was, who our winner was, all of that. So we got that out of the way.
Maybe they do make it a Patreon thing, charge $5 for it.
That's the least entertaining thing. Yeah, so we'll go through now. As we reach the decks that are in the top 5, we'll add them to this top 5 list up here. And then at the end, we'll announce our winning. So we've got a lot of decks to get through. We'll hopefully not spend too much time on each one. Just to summarize our ingredients here, this was a bit more of a mean list than the first one, because some of these cards kind of actively fight against each other. We had Grenadier Bracers, Pillar Swing, Monster Blast, Midnight's Assistance, which, if you don't know, is a 2/5 that goes to your card pool to give a mid-attack 2 speed, and also has a little anti-stun thing on it. And then we have Encouragement, which is the gimme kind of throwaway generic good card. And then Sports Festival Champ, which is a weird card that protects you from damage reduction and sometimes gives you +1 damage. Not a very great card, but some of these cards are pretty tricky to use. I think we generally gave Sports Festival Champ decks a pass if they were doing a lot of self-mill or destroying a lot of foundations to try to trigger the +1, or if they had a huge attack they might want to protect. Midnight's Assistance a little bit trickier because it's if you can't clear it from your card pool, you better be having some very, very big mid attacks, right?
Yeah, I think that was the reason why some people gravitated to Aoyama too.
Yeah, we saw some Aoyama 2s on this basis, of course.
Midnight's Assistance is so funny because everyone has it. It comes free with every one of your cannon blasts, but no one has ever seen it before.
Yeah, right. So let's see. I lost my... Oh, there it is.
Then, we had 2 actually just decently good cards, which were Bracers and Encouragement, and then the rest were more build around, right?
Yeah, and you still have to do a little bit to build your Bracers, too.
You do.
Alright, so let's go ahead and hop in. So our first deck is an Aoyama 2 deck from I See What You Did There. And this one is running Heroic Clash. Right off the bat, we have a Heroic Clash deck. Right off the bat.
I appreciate Heroic Clash answering the question, what do we do with 1 momentum? Because when you look at Aoyama, he does 2 things. He gets you 1 momentum, and then he gives mid-attack 1 speed. Yeah. Which is not the best ability on a 7-hander, but...
yeah, he gives you a momentum, and then he turns on bench press.
What's it?
He...
bad toga.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah, so we have the Heroic Clashes here. Just at our difficulty curves, we're reasonably respectful of the 1 check here, more or less. We have Pillar Swing, which is a nice move. Midnight's Assistance is Aoyama's support, so it goes very well with him. This gives you speed on the way out of getting your momentum, saves you a difficulty in the process. So yeah, a pretty reasonable use of the ingredients here. That's our big problem with this deck is these bracers, right, Jose?
Yeah, we just have no way of actually putting bracers to use, sadly. We have no way to destroy our foundations reliably or consistently because we only have 2 Sullenwood style. We are not running any amount of brute strength, which is like the best facilitator of Grenadier bracers, and it's just like we're running 3 1-devs that don't do anything, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah, Grenadier bracers is literally a dead card. Is almost literally a dead card. Someone sells once per turn too, so like, yeah, it is very, very blank, and you don't want to put blank asses in your deck. And that was definitely took some points away.
I would have also appreciated the deck running Twisting Azure Inferno, or like more ways to get more heroic clashes going. Maybe some fast momentum cards like Blue Flame Palm Strike. Like make it so that if we draw more 2 heroic clashes turn, let's say 2, we're able to use both of them.
Yeah, and we have the pillar swings here, but yeah, that is a high difficulty move, and they have to block it and so on and so forth. But it is our first Ayama 2. We are running some nice in terms of like the quality of our general foundation base isn't too bad, which is a bit of an issue for some of these other decks, but yeah, a pretty interesting deck. All right, next we have definitely about Nick Reagan's Toru 2. Let's talk about this, Jose.
This is a Toru 2 deck. It's dedicating itself very well to the Monster Blast. We are running a decent amount of low attacks to facilitate it. We got the 4 Invisible Infiltration. We have some decently hard to block moves thanks to Toru 2, which then enables us to use Encouragement. And overall, the deck is just really annoying. It's going to try to get rid of your best foundations with Monster Blast, with Seizing the Advantage, and overall, like this was just like a cool deck, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. A little straightforward, right? This is kind of mostly a normal Toru 2 deck that just happens to be shoving in some of the ingredient cards.
Yeah.
But, Monster Blast, not expressly bad here. Pillar Swing, not expressly bad here. Sports Festival Champ, it can protect 1.3 million, I guess.
Sure can.
It gets to do that. Encouragement certainly just fine.
A free commit in the rare case where you just have an Invisible Infiltration and you have nothing to reset, I guess.
Yeah. This looks pretty solid. No, it didn't quite get into our top 5, but it was another verse. Just a little. I don't want to call it boring, so it's not boring. The Toru 2 is kind of cool, but there's a little bit of like Exploding Pride's maybe a bit of a stretch here. We do need to kill people, right? But
yeah, I maybe would have appreciated a different air low attack to serve the purpose of Exploding Pride.
Yeah, even amplified, queuing up some pillar swings or whatever, right?
Yeah. The funnier option would have been to just run Frog Kick. And
just
hope that encouragement to just hit.
Yeah, we will. We almost had one of these, but it was deleted. An encouragement frog kick deck. That was pretty cool.
That was so cool.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have Jesse Cervini's Gran Torino deck. Now, we saw a lot of Gran Torinos last time for entirely different reasons, because the ingredients last time were really had some funny Gran Torino loops.
Yeah.
This time we're just kind of playing the old man. So, Pillar Swing is kind of neat in Torino. It has a lot of nice synergy where it guarantees that you're going to have a committed foundation. So when you destroy a foundation, when it gets blocked to build it down committed, you're not actually losing anything the way you might be on a different lead attack. You are a little stuck on, you kind of need to land a 1.3 million volts to win with this deck. But you are Torino, so if your attacks aren't landing, you get to bring them back and try again, which is kind of a neat feature. We're making pretty good use of Monster Blast. Torino gets that Grenadier Bracers count up. And again, we've got Encouragement makes sense in this deck, and mostly cards that, make sense, are reasonable cards.
Yeah, Gran Torino mostly wants to get you into those damned if you don't situations where it's like, if I block this, it's gonna get it back. If I don't block it, I'm taking 8, right?
Yeah.
So I do think that Bracers gives you an avenue to say, if I don't land the Indiscriminate Shock, maybe Howitzer Impact being a 6 low 12 gets there, right?
Yeah. Bracers maybe gives this a little bit of flexibility to possibly win without landing bolts. I still don't think it's winning without landing bolts, but it's not the only deck on the face of the earth to have that problem, so... Yeah, overall, interesting deck. The only Gran Torino we saw. Certainly making pretty good use of him here, and we put this deck in our top 5. Alright, and then we have Diabolic's Flying Furious Frog's Feet. Alright, Jose, you might remember that we judged these over the course of the last few days. We don't have the strongest memories of all these decks, but go ahead, what do you like about this?
I'm trying to find it on my document. It's one of these, I swear. We're getting some technical difficulties.
Well, the 4th one. So I will start by pointing out this is, I believe, our first Fierce Whirlwind appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to see this a bunch here. And what's going on here is this card says Enhance Destroy X Foundations, : and Grenadier Bracers says he commit 1 damage to each foundation you've destroyed.
I found it.
So when you have Bracers out, Fierce Whirlwind lets you throw your stage at the opponent. And this is going to do 10 to 15 damage, so it doesn't just kill them on its own, but it is funny.
It is funny, ECX. If you do not use it, as a shallow swipe, it just readies your board, which is appreciated.
Yeah.
Any card that racks up the Bracers count is good. Agitation is nice because we are running mostly Fury, so like getting the card draw on air is appreciated. We're running all the good cards like Basic Training, Small Emblember. Sports Festival Champ, I didn't like in this deck because there's just no way you're able to actually get that off, right?
Yeah, outside of activating Fierce Whirlwind, but yeah, Asui is. Yeah. We have also managed to find a deck where Encouragement doesn't look good.
Yes. Which is very strange, isn't it?
Yeah. Its ability is to do what your character already does.
Yeah. On top of that, we are running Monster Blast with 4 low attacks.
Yeah, which is, to be fair, more than some other decks, but
yeah,
I like seeing the Asui sort of recognizing like, oh hey, Monster Blast is arranged. We can do something with this. It's not really pulled together here. There's really not a lot of damage in this deck either.
Yeah. We are not running any of the known kill conditions that Air has.
Yeah, because 1.3 is arranged, and that would certainly check a lot of boxes here where we're low on low blocks too. Yeah. But yeah, cool to see the Asui. Probably needs a bunch of work to really be. I mean, obviously none of these decks are going to be used competitively because we're forcing people to run Sports Festival Champ and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Cool initial idea. Probably needed to be fleshed out in a different direction.
Yeah, I do think that maybe the Fury package took us away from a lot of the cantrips Air has access to, because this deck needs to find all the attacks to play to actually get off, right? And
yeah,
he just isn't able to do that right now.
All right, next we have Elysion's Shigaraki 2. So we're gonna have back-to-back Shiga 2s here. So this is the first one, and so we're running Pillar Swing in Shigaraki 2, which is. We're 4xing it. No, you do not have to play 4x Pillar Swing. You only have to play 3. You only have to play 3 Monster Blast, 3 Pillar Swing if you're running those cards. But we went to 4 here.
Elysion just wanted it, I think.
Yeah. So this is the idea. If you try not to think about the 6 difficulty here, is that if they block the Pillar Swing, you're getting a momentum. If they don't block it or they partial block it, you're also getting a momentum. And we have all sorts of ways to use this momentum. Like, all of our other attacks spend momentum except for Touch of Decay, and who cares? And yeah, we're Shigaraki 2 deck where we're making momentum, we're spending it.
Yeah. I could even say that every attack in this deck is a 6 diff to some extent, because we are running Gigantic Explosion and Howitzer Cyclone, which are very difficult combos to get down. But then we have the really cool cantrip moves like Turn to Dust, Touch of Decay. Well, not Touch of Dust, but the Stun Grain, Touch of Decay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Encouragement is cool because we get to do our thing without spending a momentum, and then we get to get a momentum from the Shigaraki.
Yeah, this deck has a lot of neat things in it. We do have to take some issue with some of these lists with their sheer size. Right? One of the things with these challenges is that you're trying to use these awkward cards And then if you just sort of make the deck bigger so that you see them less, it's not cheating, but it's a little bit of skirting it a little bit. And it's kind of easy for a deck to say like, oh hey, look at all these cool things in the deck when it's 67 cards.
Yeah.
So not that we wouldn't top 5 or possibly give the winner to a large deck, but it is definitely some minus points in this challenge.
Yeah, it has to be a crazy big deck. Like, it has to be like doing some wild things, right?
Yeah, it has to be like using the size for something other than watering down our sports festival champ count.
Yeah, another thing that I didn't really that pulled me off from this deck is that I look at Pillar Swing and it's clearly just supposed to be Nitro Explosion.
Right. yeah. It is. Yeah. It has some synergy. It still feels out of place,
Yeah.
But I appreciate it nonetheless.
Yeah, this is a very cool deck. It's just random gigantic explosion you off the board.
Yeah.
And then use those foundations for even more damage, which I can appreciate.
Yeah. So then we've got the other Shigaraki deck. This one from Nivrams. This one a nice 55 cards, a nice clean 55 cards. This one choosing to go different route. We're not running the Sports Festival Champ and Pillar Swing. Instead, we have the Monster Blast and Midnight's Assistance. Now, not that Sports Festival Champ is super well utilized in most of these lists either. Midnight's Assistance is kind of doing more here, so far as the, like, I'm desperate and I just want to put +2 speed on something. We have a mid attack with Powerful 3, so there's that. Yeah. Which is more than nothing, a Powerful 3 attack in our deck that prints momentum, and we're playing other speed boosts, so it's not like, this is the only thing that we're going to use to try to shove this through. So I like that about this list.
Yeah. I like the use of Summonwood Style and Brute Strength to rank up the Grenadier count. We have Midnight's Assistance, but we at least also have Forcing Surrender.
Yes.
Encouragement is just good in this deck. We are playing 3 Monster Blasts. We only have 3 low attacks. That's unfortunate.
Yes. Yeah.
But, it's a small Shigi 2 deck. You're probably finding all the pieces you want.
Yeah. I'm mostly a lot of these death lists are missing Spooky, and that's just bizarre to me. And a lot of them are not running very much speed hate in general. Also. Yeah. Which is kind of tough as your 7/19.
The deck has so much speed hate. That's so good.
Yeah. So running like good cards, but maybe not quite a great mix of good cards per se. But it's cool to see some Shigaraki 2s coming out here.
Yeah, we got both Howitzer impacts at 3 of. It does something, a 4/6 low 6 is never bad, I guess.
Yeah. All right, so next we have this Death Arms deck, and Jose, take this one off here.
So, this deck is really cool. Because Death Arms is a really cool guy. We're running so many 5 diffs. We're running big moves, Pillar Swing. It's huge. Furious Whirlwind is so good with Grenadier Bracers. You just throw your stage at them. It also helps us pay for all these big difficulty moves. We get to destroy things whenever we want. So we get Howitzer Impact. Corrosion Lunge is a move I usually don't like, but it's a 5 diff that buffs our other 5 diffs. So
yeah, I've played a Death Arms locally, and I had a big problem with my poke game, and Corrosion Lunge is an interesting answer to that question.
Yeah. I'm surprised Monster Blast didn't make it in, because we are running so many low attacks. But
well, maybe, for what it's worth.
Yeah, when I would have played more Wallop.
Oh no, we have 10. You're right. We have 10. Yeah.
Yeah. I would have just put more. I love Wallop. I think Wallop is so cool. We have Go for the Wins. Like, this deck knows what it wants to do a little bit, but the issue Tim and I ran with is that the deck is like 70 cards.
It is 69 cards and 20 attacks. So again, you have sort of the usual the bloat argument, and also, I don't know. It's running stuff like League, and Sports Festival Champ is kind of here doing nothing.
Yeah.
Where we're running something like League Interview makes sense given that we're running 3 Pillar Swings and all these 5 diffs, but Aggressive Temper, you can always find cards that make sense to be in your list, but like at some point you have to trim it down and make some decisions, right?
Like, a 6-hander with this low ratio of attacks is so rough. When when your attacks are high difficulty and like you need to be able to play at least 2 to get 1 in, right?
Yeah. So let's see. What do we have next? We have Mr. Final Max's Ingenium list. Alright, switching to the air symbol. I think we had probably more death decks than air decks. I didn't really count, but that surprised me. But we have an air ingen. This deck is an EX theme deck, and that is really cool. We are playing 4 EX moves. We are playing the combo EX kick, and then we're playing Pillar Swing because it is a slam that we can give +3 speed and +3 damage.
We are sending a 6 mid 11 Pillar Swing. We're not even Jiro. Jiro's bad. Jiro needs to play 3 cards to do that. We do it in 1.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really, really cool creative stuff here. This is one of my favorite decks from a like, wow, that's just cool and different angle. I think we have, so I have my notes that it seems like a missed opportunity to not be running the grenade air bracers. Like, we could probably find a line where we're running some feeling cutes and some grenade air bracers to get a little bit of extra damage on a lot of these fast but no extra damage moves. Where if we get all this momentum, we have all this speed boosting.
Like, if instead of the 4 Midnight Assistants and the 4 Sports Festivals, we just had bracers and some Foundation Destruction. That could work.
Or instead of one of those, right? You can only give it one of those because of the challenge, but yeah,
right. Well, yeah.
And especially we have aggressive temper. I'm missing some Foundation Destruction here besides release. But yeah, so there's a few like oddball decisions like that, but the core is really neat. Like this is really fun. I don't know if it's any good. Maneuvering Laser could probably be something else, and that would be better.
Funnily enough, Tim, the Fierce Whirlwind is an EX move, so that would have been great here.
Fierce Whirlwind would have fit in this list actually, yes, too. But cool direction. This thing is really fun to look at, yeah.
Maneuvering Laser sucks, but I'm happy to see it anytime because it is a really cool move. I just hate it so much.
Yeah, right. The next list we have. All right, we have Dandre 1984's Kyoka Jiro. Yeah, you want to start this, Jose? It's probably effective because it's Jiro.
You would say that, but that's often not that true. I mean, you're more of a Jiro expert than I am. But when I look at this deck, my instant reaction is, oh no, we only have 2 Sandways and 2 Comets.
Yeah.
What's happening? But this is a cool deck. We have the bracers to just give Jiro more damage, something that, as we all know, Jiro always needs. Jiro never has enough damage.
Yeah.
We have Fierce Whirlwind, which is really cool here because we get to play it on like a 7, ready up, and then play another move. We get some mixes, but Tag Fanatic, successful results. We have some cool foundations here, but you know, the 4 Midnight Assistants just doesn't do anything.
What's an extra card in our card pool? What do you mean?
I feel like we could have done that many other ways.
Yeah, we could just play a foundation round. Yeah, this looks to me like somebody took an already constructed Jiro list and added 10 cards to it or whatever.
Added Monster Blast and Midnight Assistants.
Yeah, so like unless you're using Fierce Whirlwind for the readying thing, I have sort of like this fundamental problem here where we're running 2 Fierce Whirlwinds hoping to like make this late string 4 high for a bunch with Grenadier Bunch Bracers and maybe EX it. Home Run Comet is a late string more than 4 speed high for also a bunch, right? And if we were running 4 of this and this was like a backup, I would buy it more, but like these should clearly just be more Comets.
Yeah, we run into the issue of the bones of just a strong Jiro deck are here. They have just been weakened by...
Yeah, they've been watered down with like challenge stuff and stuff to support the other challenge stuff, and it's sort of like Jiro's not the character that needs a lot of these things.
No, we have Monster Blast, but we only have 5 low attacks.
Yeah, we can give Monster Blast damage, and that's cool because it's a charge.
Yeah.
But yeah, just not really a great fit here, I don't think.
Yeah, I do like Monster Blast, um, as like a weird tech choice in Giro, but you
Yeah.
need to be playing a lot more lows, and you still need to be running all of the sound waves.
Yeah. All right. Next we have a Yuga Aoyama 2. So this is our second Aoyama 2. I believe we had 3 overall.
Yeah.
So much like the first one, this is Aoyama 2 is a good choice for actually making pretty good use out of most of the ingredients. He very unique. He gets to use Midnight Assistance and have it make sense.
Weird.
You know, it's his support. It plays nice in him. Encouragement is still fine in him. Pillar Swing's an interesting card in him. And this time we're going with Monster Blast. I forget if the other one was on Monster Blast or Grenadier.
It was on Bracers.
Yeah.
That was the problem. It didn't have any way to use the bracers.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So we're on Monster Blast this time, and we're splashing some low attacks. We have some Blast Rush Turbos. We have 3 Sludges. I think that's it. We have 5 low attacks, which is, you know, more than 0. It is a fairly thick deck at 65, but not as crazy as some of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we're combining Aoyama with Twisting Azure Inferno. Aoyama's, besides printing a momentum, also gives a mid attack plus 3 damage, so this makes a lot of sense. And then we print that momentum, and Sludge can use it, Blast Rush Turbo can use it. Stun Grenade has powerful in a pinch. But we have capabilities to spend momentum. We have nothing to see here to spend momentum. So like we're not doing Heroic Clash, but we have plenty of momentum outlets here.
Yeah. I think capabilities is really good in this deck.
Yeah.
I think that is just like a really good card that doesn't see much use, and being able to slap it on like a low like Sludge, or especially after something like Monster Blast, is you can find ways to sneak the damage in, I think.
Yeah. I like the fact that we are respecting our 7 hand size health total here with, you know, we're playing Shock Absorption for some defense. We're playing the Nothing to See here's. We're 4xing Surviving the Final. We're playing only 2 Struggling, which is probably not quite correct. But, you know, we're putting some defense in this deck. A lot of these death decks are eschewing defense because the challenge cards are sort of forcing them out of it when they fit in their other pet cards. But we're being at least mildly respectful. If we face a punch deck, we have Arrogant Disposition for it. That's probably just here to block low, but it is good against punch decks too.
Yeah. Stun Grenade is a little awkward.
Yes.
We can whiff. Pillar Swing and Twisting Azure are not Furies.
Yeah, I think I actually like took out a calculator on this. I think the odds of Stun Grenade whiffing in this deck are close to 50-50. And that's a little awkward. Normally it's like 30% if you're full Furies.
I mean, when I play it, I just whiff it every time, so I don't know what that life is like, to be honest.
Yeah, pretty good use of Aoyama too. It's a nice balanced diet. It's got some threat diversity. It's got some uses for momentum. It's making use of the mid attack speed and damage, but it also has a low, so it's not a mono mid deck. Yeah, pretty nice little well-rounded deck. A little thick, but not too bad. We went ahead and we put this in our top 5. Kihei's Yuga Aoyama 2.
Yeah, the deck is effective. It uses momentum well, and it has some lines that I think are interesting, like being able to send a lot of like strong mid attacks and then actually kill you with a low.
Yeah, the Blast Rush Turbo lines and so on. All right, next we have a Katsuki Bakugo 2 deck. It's one of nice 60 cards. And yeah, so tell me about this, Jose.
You know, Bakugo 2 loves Go for the Win. He loves that card so much. Because he's destroying his own foundations, and this is a deck that is certainly going in. We have once again forgone any amount of defense. To be able to just play all the
Spooky,
moves.
And that's it. Yep.
We have Double Front Beatdown and Villainous Waylay. We just want them dead. We want to kill them dead.
You've got the wrong Bakugo deck.
Oh, I have the wrong Bakugo deck.
Yeah,
oh, no.
we're talking about David Tome's Bakugo 2. We'll get to that Bakugo deck later.
We get to that one later.
Yeah, this one is running Go for the Win. So you were actually correct for a little while there.
Yeah,
it is running Go for the Win. It is deep on bracers. It is certainly not running a whole lot of defense.
Okay, so not a whole lot of defense. We have the most random copy of Living Up to His Example of all time.
Yeah, I'm looking at the block graph at the bottom here. I think David here was very interested in having that nice, perfectly balanced block mod count, which is
You think so?
something that a trap that I have fallen for, but also not actually that necessary.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. This deck is. I love the Touch of Decay. That's one of my favorite cards in Death. But we are missing Touch of Decay's best friend, which is Nitro Explosion.
Yes.
Aggressive Clash is really cool. I'm happy that we're running it. It's just like a nice move. You know, it's a two check. My issue with this deck is Pillar Swing. Funnily enough.
Yeah. It's nice in the sense that like it's a threat, and you're hoping that they feel like they have to block it. So and then you give you the momentum.
But they really don't.
They don't.
The thing about Pillar Swing is that if you partial it and you take 4, you have turned off all of this deck's combos for a little bit. Because they are high investment combos, like and now they needed like an extra step to actually get them off. Yeah,
and on that note, my sort of big shortcoming with this deck is that it only has 8 combos in it. One of them requires you to commit a foundation as the cost. The other's a 5 diff. And you know, as fine as it is to just like destroy a foundation, you get 2 speed and 2 powerful. If you're not leveraging that once per turn, it's very hard to justify being this Bakugo. And this deck is running, you know, Aggressive Clash and Long Lasting are cool cards. I think these should be more combos specifically if we're going to be doing this.
Yeah. Maybe Aggressive Clash was for that breath. We wanted that 0 high block.
right. Pretty good use of the ingredients for the most part. Pillar Swing, nice idea in spirit. Probably wouldn't play out that great in practice, but I appreciate the thought behind it. Encouragement, obviously, fine in this deck. Sports Festival Champ. You're playing big powerfuls. You have more of a chance of getting the +1 damage here than you do in some other decks. Grenadier Bracers obviously makes some sense.
Yeah. This is another situation where Pillar Swing is just it's secretly Nitro Explosion, but we needed to
we had to run Pillar Swing. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Our next list, we have Patrick's. We have this is the one you were looking for before. This is Patrick's.
This is the one I was looking
Bakugo
for.
1.
Yeah.
This one's running Double Front Beatdown and Villainous Waylay. I like Villainous Waylay in Bakugo 1. That's really cool to me. We have Monster Blast and a healthy diet of lows. I like Monster Blast into Blastros Turbo. You're building in the like whatever you thought you were gonna do to block my Blastros Turbo. We're getting that out of the way.
It's a great bread and butter. Some of the other decks were also running that, but this deck is on more Blastros Turbo than those other decks.
Yeah, it's on a full 4 Blastros Turbos. We have Sports Festival Champ. Again, as these Bakugos that can destroy foundation. Oh, we are deeper on. This is the deck that is deeper on Sports Festival Champ than possibly any other deck because we are running Indenimed to try to make this thing work.
The Indenimed was a big surprise.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Indenimed snack time a foundation, destroy a foundation.
I like the 3 snack times. Yeah, I like a lot about this deck until I get to like I think. Beatdown maybe a little too greedy here. Like I understand the spirit of Casino Bakugo and whatever, but this is pretty close to being a reasonable non-casino deck where we're using Waylay to set up our big low attack bombs.
Yeah, like I can imagine the line of Waylay, Call Low, Monster Blast, Blast Rush Turbo being just so effective, right?
Yeah. Like such here. But yeah, overall, cool list, pretty cool use of Bakugo. It really nice to see Waylay in here. We got reasonably. Also, another death deck that's running no defense whatsoever, but at least we're aggressive enough that, okay, fine, we're just sort of slamming in there, but...
This one is actually no defense.
Yeah, it's surviving the final end.
Double front beatdown.
Double front beatdown, yeah. And maybe that's why we're running the double front beatdown, too.
No, because then we would be struggling with studies to pick it up.
True. But yeah, nonetheless, we put this deck in our top 5. Patrick. In here.
Just self-destructive, as the name implies.
Alright, so what would have been the next deck got deleted. So next we have Remyard's Ragdoll deck.
Ragdoll?
Yeah. We saw a couple of Ragdolls here, and tell us about Ragdoll.
Ragdoll is such a cool character, right? She gets access to a forbidden ability in our game, which is form search for something. Insane that she just gets to do that, right? She gets to scout the top card of her deck, so she gets to get away with some weird lines when it comes to difficulty. And this is a really cool, like, air Ragdoll deck that is, what I'm assuming, just trying to find Fierce Whirlwind and just go off, right?
Yeah. We are trying to assemble the Fierce Whirlwind Bracers, and we'll see another Ragdoll deck later. It is, Ragdoll's has this reveal 2 copies ability to give +4 or -4 speed, and we're largely not interested in triggering that here, right?
No.
We are playing the 4Xs that we have to play.
Yeah, we are not running our own foundation that facilitates it. We have no real way of getting the things that we need. This might be just me being a hater. I don't like Cat Pounce. I don't know how you feel about it, Tim. I don't like this card very much.
It's certainly an unusual one. I think in Ragdoll, it is a bonus. I would almost see it as a bonus way to find that second copy of something for your +4 speed.
Yeah.
Then we need to put damage on this thing.
Yeah, but then you look at all the attacks and none of them are 4-ofs, right?
Right,
so
exactly. Improvised Blade was a funny choice.
It is. It's very funny.
This is Improvised Blade. We're doing this for Midnight's Assistance, and I think this is the only deck that's trying to do this, and that's really funny to me.
Is that what that is?
Yes, yes. Improvised Blade is here so that we can Midnight's Assistance it and get an extra +1.
Oh no, we're bad Cassie Cage. Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Improvised Blade is a card that I thought it was really interesting. Because it just was never good in Jiro because she always just had better tools. Why would you enhance to do the Jiro response when you can just play a weapon charge?
Yeah.
But in a deck like this, I could see it being interesting, but I just don't see how this Ragdoll deck can get to card pools deep enough where it actually helps.
I'm really, that might be like freeze framing. There we go. Okay, I've learned a technical thing. If I minimize Discord, it freeze frames you on the recording. I'm not sure how long that was happening for, but now Discord is
a bad frame.
Is it? But yeah. Ragdoll pretty. The last thing I'll say about this deck, I think we'll see this in a few places here. One of the things I think we're trying to do here is we have Feeling Cute and Grenadier Bracers and this Sports Festival Champ. We're kind of trying to paper over our character's lack of damage by trying to trigger this +1 damage on Grenadier Bracers and hopefully sometimes on Sports Festival Champ a bunch. Because Air really doesn't have those +1 damage buttons that a lot of other symbols have. So we're trying our best to make do with it here.
Yeah.
And that's something I kind of liked seeing in a few lists. That was kind of a neat creative thing to kind of pop out of this.
Yeah, a lot of times Air has to hit you with printed moves and then indiscriminate shock.
Yeah, and that's kind of how Jiro's kind of become the one of the faces of Air, is because the Air character that actually puts damage on things, right?
Yeah.
All right, next we have Pippa Sad's Katsuki Bakugo 1 list, and so this is this might be the most presumably effective deck that we saw, because it's very, very close to being a stock Bakugo 1 list that's sort of folding in some of these cards. Right, Monster Blast doesn't feel too out of place in Bakugo 1. Grenadier Bracers obviously makes sense. Encouragement obviously makes sense. So we're kind of like sliding in the Sports Festival Champ and running an otherwise, pretty straightforward Bakugo 1 list.
This is Bakugo. You look at this. This is a Bakugo deck.
Yeah, this is certainly an Air Bakugo deck.
No matter how you look at it, this is an Air Bakugo deck. It's got the Air cards and it's got Bakugo in it.
Yeah, and as Air cards, I like the Airstream driver inclusion here. We once again have Monster Blast into Blast Rush Turbo combo, I believe, and we have 8 low attacks. We're playing Nitro this time instead of and not the Pillar Swing.
I love Airstream driver, but I do wonder how good is it actually in Air Bakugo a lot of the time? Because sometimes people are a little reticent to actually block some of your moves.
Yeah, it is. It's a little weird, but also we need the low blocks anyway.
True.
We're running 2 Rescue Completed also. I'm not quite sure what Dexterous Appendages is doing in here exactly.
Yeah.
That is a bit of a
was
that
the weird
we're here to gamble on making our big move really fast, I guess. But other than that, lots of cards that make sense.
Maybe Pippa just has played against Mineta too many times. And they just want to stack a card.
Yeah, I mean, that is a thing that triggers Dexterous Appendages, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, so pretty potent Bakugo deck. Maybe not the most creative thing in the world, but certainly a good deck that uses the ingredients pretty well. So we went ahead, we put this in our top 5. All right, so we have 6 or 7 more decks to go. Next we have a Dabi. All right, so this one.
I don't like Dabi. I just don't.
Just don't like it. So we have Pillar Swing, we have Monster Blast, we are running Encouragement and Midnight's Assistance. And I think this is one of the cases where Midnight's Assistance is we have Forcing Surrender for it. It's mostly just serving as a +2 speed button, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good, but it could be worse, I guess.
Yeah, this deck, it's a little big. It's 66 cards. Howitzer Impact is our only Monster Blast target, so that's a little rough. We're on that. We're the Fury Theme deck that just has kind of Pillar Swing on top. We've got that going on. Kind of a low attack count for a 66 card Dabi deck. Not super low, but kind of low.
Funnily enough, just not running Twisting Major Inferno.
Yeah, right. Because we're trying really hard to make our stun grenades work, but we probably don't have to be doing that.
No. My issue is it justifies Midnight's Assistance a lot better because it gets bigger, I think.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because Midnight's Assistance can only give speed to a mid move, so we can only really do it to Stun Grenade, Pillar Swing, and Monster Blast, right?
Yeah. I mean, for Twisting Azure, I guess it's also a mid, but one thing, I don't know what Internship with Best Genus is doing in this deck.
I tried thinking about it.
Yeah, I understand that people really value their spams these days, and I understand that people overvalue spam count right now, for sure, I would say. We don't need to value it this much, that we're playing a blank 0-5 with a +3 mid block.
It's a rare situation where In Danger would have been better.
Yes. In Danger is a 0-5 +3 mid block. That is not like... maybe we thought Dabi had Earthen, but yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah. A 4th Tight-Lipped would have also been better.
Yes. That was a little bit awkward. Another death deck running... We have nothing to see. We have a 1x nothing to see here, and very little other defense. But yeah, it's a Dabi. At some point, we'll once per game this Pillar Swing, and it'll be pretty funny. But
yeah.
All right. Next we have Bro's Toru 1 deck. We saw 2 Toru 1 decks. One of them got deleted. So this is our only Toru 1 deck. And yeah, so this one, let's see. So we're running Monster Blast. We are not running Pillar Swing. We're running Grenadier, Sports Festival, and Encouragement. And I think this is the second one of those decks. We've got the Feeling Cute, the Sports Festival, the Bracers, the Releases, and we're trying to use this to paper over our lack of damage, right?
Yeah. This deck hates the opponent's staging area. It just hates it. I think because we are on not 3 but 4 Monster Blast, and we are running a decent amount of low attacks. One of them being Toru's very own Invisible Infiltration.
Yep. And Toru destroys foundations to feed Howitzer Impact and also to feed Grenadier Bracers.
Yeah. But she can destroy on face if you don't block one of the moves, which is interesting.
Yep.
Which, if you have Encouragement up, there's no way they're not blocking one of the moves, I think.
Yeah. They're certainly going to try to block everything, right? The one... I can hear Kevin talking about like how block zones don't matter now. 2 low blocks in our 64 cards. Like, I get that we're making a statement, but like,
Are we?
I maybe.
So, the consistent theme in most of the decks we've seen is that the kill condition's a low attack. So I think all those decks kill us, right? We just die to all of
We are
those.
Toru, right? So
We are Toru.
their
We
first
are Toru.
1.3 gets flashed.
We are running 4 cheerleader because we hate the world.
Yeah, but my thought is just like, if we're willing to run 4 latent skill, I get that rebound sidekicks here because there's nothing else that feels good to flash out of your attacks. This could be signature right swing, right? And we could also find some room for some specials. Like, I understand not, like, dramatically reducing your deck quality to fit block zones, but I don't think you would have to do that to have more than 2 in this case.
It's a little unfortunate, but yeah.
The overall, this deck is definitely relying a lot on sort of going first and getting that foundation choke going, because its actual damage output is not that high. Especially, this is kind of like the deck before, where if they block 1.3, how are you killing them? If they block Blast Rush Turbo, I'm not quite sure how we're winning.
I'm surprised we're just not playing Airstream Driver, right?
Yeah, that's a card that would make some sense in this deck. Also a low block. Well, I mean, and also a Fury, right? It fits right in. Yeah, interesting to see Toru one show up. Showed up a couple times in this challenge, like we said, but the other one we don't get to talk about, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Alright, next we have Zixbuzz. So we're assuming this is a Bakugo 1 deck.
We don't know.
They forgot the character, but it does say Bakugo's Facebook killer. And judging by the lack of combos and powerfuls, it's probably not a Bakugo 2.
We're just gonna be charitable and hope.
Yeah. Imagine, this is actually a deck that's supposed to beat Bakugo for all we know.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about this a little bit, Jose.
Well, we have 3 bracers, and if we're Bakugo, 1 bracers feels excellent. It's his card. So he is able to ramp up the destruction a little easier than most other characters. And we have what looks to be like a normal attack lineup like we've seen. We have cool cards like Sludge. We have the Pillar Swing, which we can't clear, I don't think.
We cannot clear it if they partial block it, no.
Yeah, so it's an interesting conundrum there. It's doing the same amount of work that it was doing in Shigaraki, perhaps, where we get momentum later. Sport Festival Champ might be a little easier to do if we just destroy our world. But overall, like we have a little bit of defense, right? We have struggling, we have surviving. Not a lot, mind you, but we have some amount. Sports Festival Stadium is a weird inclusion in this deck. What do you think, Tim?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head if we need this for Faith Shield or not. That is a little bit strange. Maybe we're just trying not to get Breaker 2'd or something like that. Sports Festival Champ also kind of just maybe protecting a Blast Rush Turbo, and that's more or less. We do have Brute Strength, like we can maybe trigger this. We don't really need damage in this deck, though.
No. Festival Stadium, it does beat Face Shield, which does beat our character, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Probably does. Yes, it would.
Yeah, it does.
So it does do that. So, pretty straightforward. We got a few of these Bakugo ones. This one's kind of straightforward, but probably not quite as effective as Pippa's, and not really doing as much wild cool stuff as the other one was doing. So we left this one out, but it's certainly a fine deck.
Yeah, we have 3 Sludge, but no ways to print momentum, right? So it can get a little awkward.
Yeah. All right. So we have Blues Fans 3. We have a 13 deck.
Oh boy.
So 13, for those who haven't read her, is once per turn after your rival does something to mess with speed, cancel it. And you can destroy a foundation to take out one of their foundations after they play it. Pretty neat character. It needs the rest of the deck to handle all of her stat needs.
All of them.
All of them. And for what it's worth, Pillar Swing, Zero Gravity Lift, both reasonable cards. We're playing Extendo Hair, as this is sort of, you're not going to get to speed reset this. That's pretty cool. We've got a lot of, late game. We can maybe fuel up an Extendo Hair with some Grenadier Bracers, get a little bit more damage on it that way. That's pretty cool. Monster Blast and
So
absolutely zero low attacks, which
we
is
have none.
That's sort of a big miss with this deck for sure. Rebound Sidekick also not quite sure why that's here. Right, this is a character. I mean, I guess it's quote unquote 6 total damage, but you know we're really in on landing this extendo here, right? And we want to get this as a way to get 2 more damage on it. That might be the idea.
Yeah.
If we're running Monster Blast, we should be running some low attacks.
It hurts a little bit because the way you play 13 is you get to just be an asshole. You get to just deny all of their cool cards, right?
Yeah.
And playing Monster Blast and then a low attack, you would be able to deny
even more cool cards. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a deck that could really benefit from Fierce Whirlwind because you could destroy your stage, get a damage of bracers, and then deny their speed resets, right?
Yeah, deny their speed resets on the Whirlwind, or use it to, well, you're destroying your stage, but you could kind of set up an Extendo Hair with it. I don't hate going with Extendo Hair over the Whirlwind. It's kind of similar energy. They both kind of throw your stage at the opponent.
Yeah, my thought is that you could just do both. You could tap everything but 3, and then if they deal with Extendo Hair, deal with this one instead.
Right. Oh yeah. That's a good take. So yeah, that certainly hurts you. Sports Festival Champ. We don't have Feeling Cute here to sort of complete the package of sort of trying to make sure that we can trigger it. We have 4 Small and Limber with no way to trigger it. Yeah. Aside from destroying Release on offense. I mean, theoretically, you can destroy it when you're using 13 on their turn, but they're probably not attacking you again at that point. Unless they're Mandalay or something.
Oh, yeah, or Zero or Mandalay, right?
Yeah, right. So just some kind of like weird decision around the edges. I like the first 5 cards in this deck a lot. I think the rest of it probably needed to be cleaned up some.
Right.
All right, and now we have our second Aoyama 2, or third Aoyama 2, or third Aoyama 2.
Third.
All right, Jose, what do we got with this one?
So we have Twisting Azure Inferno.
Yes.
We get to power that very well. We have Blue Flame Palm Strike to find momentum. We have Naval Laser Beam as defense. We have defense in this deck. We have Cheerful Uppercut.
We have some defense. Yeah.
Been all day.
Yeah. Why is this our first Cheerful Uppercut sighting? I will never know.
I'll never know. We have some interesting inclusions in this deck, like Molday. Because we are running Acid Corrosion Breach.
Yes, and Malday is a card you can shove up and then feed with Aoyama.
Yeah.
Right, Malday makes a lot of sense in this deck. It's really cool to see Malday in this list.
Right. You get to just chuck it in momentum. You get to buy back momentum, kind of, with Acid Corrosion Breach, which is interesting.
Yeah, that is a 1x for what it's worth, but it's there.
Yeah.
These are all Monster Blast targets. Pillar Swing, again, Aoyama makes some degree of sense. We're not doing any of the Fury combo stuff, so this isn't dragging us down at all, really.
Yeah.
So what I dislike about this deck is how sort of random and sporadic and indecisive its card counts are. It's running a lot of 2 of this, 1 of that, 2 of this, 2 of this. I'm not really sure what I want to be running. It's a Cheerful deck that isn't running Graceful anywhere. Like, we do at least have Cheerful. We have some defense in this deck, but we're running Nothing to See here, but we're not running the Graceful to go with the Cheerful. We're not running the Spookies to go with those.
Yeah.
We're running Super Regen instead, which is bizarre to me.
Yeah, someone with style is offensive to me. I don't know how else to put it. It just hurts my soul.
I think your circles are higher on that card than my circles are, but yeah, if you're gonna run it, then run a couple, right? You either want to run this card or you don't want to be running this card. But what I like about this deck, what I thought was really cool and cute, for all this sporadic stuff it's doing, it is running 4 first day of class.
Yep.
And the reason it's running 4 first day of class, as far as I can tell, is because what's the favorite thing it wants to be doing is it wants to play Monster Blast, get a momentum with Malday or Midnight's Assistance. Your Monster Blast is big, and then it has the momentum, and then you first day so that you can pass your Cheerful Uppercut or your Sludge after it, and you have the momentum there. And that's really cute, and not like that strong, but it's a nice, like, this deck has some core idea that it started with. That's really neat to me.
For what it's worth, I do think that Corrosion Bridge is really interesting in this deck. Even though it's a one of, but like if you see it, I'm gonna be surprised. I'm gonna get hit by it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's gonna hit me if I see it.
Yeah, it's certainly a 2-check. It is a card where its worst case scenario is 3 low 6 draw a card, and there are worse things. It's definitely where like if this was a 3-check, it'd be everywhere kind of card.
Oh, for sure.
So it sort of earns its 2. You wish it was a 2.5 check, right? One of those things.
Yeah, it really should be a 4 diff. Is what's gonna
4
happen.
diff, yes, it's probably what it really is. Yeah, but. Yeah, pretty neat list. A little too sporadic to quite crack our top 5 here.
A little big.
Yeah, and we'll get to our last list, and this is Sam Tate's Ragdoll deck. And quite unlike the other Ragdoll deck, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4.
Unlike the Aoyama, there are no sporadic
We are
the only
running.
thing is too spooky.
Yes.
And then it's just 4 ups.
Yep. We are here to fulfill Ragdoll's find 2 copies in hands. Fierce Whirlwind's not a Fury, but we're on this Fierce Whirlwind combo. We are planning to use Ragdoll to land it with her +4 speed. Long Lasting Explosion also giving it speed.
Yeah.
Kind of an awkward supporting cast. These are not high damage moves or anything like that, but we have 4 brute strength. We don't necessarily need her, we can give everything 2 damage in a pinch. One miss here is Midnight's Assistance not being paired with Forcing Surrender, but with Villainous Entrance. Is weird.
Yeah. Very strange.
Yeah. But we have the Happy-Go-Luckies. We have 4 excited for the Sports Festival. We have the Brute Strength. We can like maybe try to make this work, but this card's kind of blank other than protecting Fierce Whirlwind.
We get to form Search for the Fierce Whirlwind, so we at least have that.
Yeah. We always have the Whirlwind. We'll probably find those bracers at some point as a 4x asset. We'll probably draw 3 of them every game. That's the way it works, right?
Yeah, that is the way that works. And unless it's housed, you don't feel good about it.
Right. But yeah, pretty respectable. Ragdoll deck that knows that it's Ragdoll, right? Probably should be playing something with more damage somewhere in here, but other than a couple things around this, we kind of just liked the straightforward, like, yep, this is what we're doing of this list.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah, so this is going to be our final entry into the top 5. Can I spell maneuvers ever?
For what it's worth, Sports Festival Champ is probably just bench press, now that I think about it.
Oh, in like an updated list that wasn't forced to run Sports Festival Champ? Yeah, and a lot of these lists, it would just be bench press. Yes. At least in the death ones, right? This is a death list, yes. I forget what symbol the other one was. But yeah, so that is all of our entries that were not deleted. That means our top 5 was RCCG Cervini's Gran Torino deck. We had P. Hade's Aoyama with the... Let's see. I think did we put 2 Aoyamas in here? No, we put 2 Bakugos in here. So this is the one Aoyama 2 we did put in. P. Hade's Aoyama 2. We had Patrick's Bakugo with the double fronts and the waylays. And then we had Pippa's more straightforward, probably more effective, but a little less exciting Bakugo list.
Yeah. It doesn't get the people going so much.
Yeah, but it sure is a Bakugo. It's sure gonna kill some people, right?
It is.
And then we have the Ace Maneuvers Ragdoll deck. And so, we certainly debated amongst these 5 a bunch, and in the end, we decided that the winner was going to be P. Hade with this Aoyama list. Just kind of, making good use of a somewhat unusual character, finding uses for those momentum, doing some neat things. All these decks had some problems here and there, right? Beyond just being forced to be Iron Chef decks. Like, there's always like a little bit of this or that we would do differently, but yeah, I think we like this deck one overall.
Yeah, it does what I think every Aoyama 2 deck needs to do, which is answer why you're not just Toga. And
yeah.
Part of that is just giving 3 damage to Azure Inferno in a pinch.
Yeah. Yeah, 3 damage to Azure Inferno and some momentum outlets, and yeah, certainly this challenge has made me think a little bit better about Aoyama 2. Like, yeah, I get that you can't just be Toga, but he does some things. He has some angles.
Yeah. Well, what can he do? Well, he gets to play capabilities. He gets to print momentum. He gets to ready capabilities with Whirlwind. Like I got some appreciation for some more fringe death attacks. I think I know what a non-fury death list does now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are things you can build, with the right mix of cards.
Cool moves.
Yeah. All right, so thanks everyone for entering. I will spin another one of these up. I'll probably wait until after Christmas. So we're not trying to have people. Maybe people want to be stealing away, coming up with Iron Chef lists while they're at their Christmas gathering. So I don't know. Whenever we have another news video that's not like tonight or tomorrow or something, or whenever we get some kind of news at all. But yeah, thanks for joining me, Jose. Thanks for helping me judge all of these. It's always nice to have two opinions on the mix, because it's not just like one person, so they get to be jointly mad at both of us.
Yeah, we get to go, I like this Oyama, but I like this Oyama.
Yeah, we definitely had some debates over we had different orders as to which Oyamas we liked more and things like that.
Yeah. We sadly were both very high on some decks that were lost in the field of battle.
Yeah, we both liked one of the deleted decks, and we're very sad about that. But all right, thanks for watching, everyone. I'll see you in the next news video or otherwise, and thanks for coming on, Jose. All right, good night, everyone.
Night.